Hello. Okay. We just dealt with, here we go. We just dealt with the conquistadors, Magellan, right? And now we're on the Columbian Exchange. Okay. The Columbian Exchange is not named for Colombia, the country. It's actually named for Columbus. The country of Colombia is for Columbus too, by the way. Um, the idea is that it's the exchange of stuff because Columbus discovered the New World. All right? Guys, the stuff that's being exchanged could be anything. It could be food, it could be natural resources, it could be plants or animals or people. Okay? All kinds of stuff is being exchanged back and forth. All right? This right here is a really famous picture that, like, every teacher always shows their students. There we go. This right here is showing you some of the stuff that was being exchanged from the New World, which is the Americas, to the Old World, which is Africa, Asia, and Europe. Okay. Okay, just look at some of this stuff for a minute and think about Europeans had never had tobacco. That's not totally true. A certain type of tobacco. Okay. Pumpkin and turkey. No Thanksgiving dinner. And look, even sweet potatoes or potatoes. How do you live without potatoes? I don't even know. In fact, potatoes are kind of weird because a lot of people associate the potato. Oh, I didn't have to move my picture. Just kidding. A lot of people associate the potato with Ireland right here. Mm-mm. It's native to the Americas. Interesting. Avocado. No guacamole. I don't like guacamole, so I'm like, bleh. But apparently people do. If you look here, the cacao bean. Cocoa. The cacao bean is like the bean that makes chocolate. You have to, of course, sweeten it if you want it to taste good. I've had cacao, by the way, and it's gross. It's like chalky, and you just want to scrape it off your tongue. It's not good. Ugh. But you mix sugar with cacao and other stuff, butter and milk and all kinds of good stuff. Although I don't like milk either. Huh. Okay. But and then you get chocolate. Nobody in the old world had chocolate. No chocolate, no potatoes. That'd be so much thinner. Can you imagine that? It's crazy. Look at things that are coming from the old world and going to the new world for the first time. Grapes, a lot of like fruity stuff. Grapes, onions, a vegetable, sugar cane. I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. Banana, olives, peach, pear, whatever. Look at this one. No Native American had ever had coffee. And what's funny is coffee is like so associated with the country of Colombia. It's not native to there. How do you live without coffee? I still have my coffee cup from this morning. It's empty. That's okay. Look right here also. This one's just interesting. The honeybee. Okay. Cattle. Yes, like there were bison and stuff up here, but not like normal cows and stuff. And then look at the disease. Smallpox, malaria, diphtheria, whooping cough, measles, typhus, and I told you in the last video, I think, or I told you yesterday, whatever. Influenza, the flu. No Native American had ever had the flu. Crazy. So we have all this stuff going from the old and new worlds to the old and new worlds for the first time. Well, that exchange of stuff is going to lead to this. Triangular trade. I know you've seen this too in the 8th grade. Um, Triangular trade, at first, it's really just more back and forth until slavery comes in. Okay. For the most part, is it always true? No. For the most part, the stuff that's being sent from the Americas, it could be down here. Your triangle could start down here and go up and then down and then, okay? It could go from the Caribbean up. It could go from up here, okay? But we have basically 3 different continents that we're going from. Well, sort of. The Americas, Europe, Africa, back to the Americas, okay? For the most part, the stuff that is coming from the Americas is usually raw materials, natural resources, or plants in their like natural form, like cotton, the cotton plant, the sticky cotton plant. It's not a shirt yet, it's a sticky cotton plant. Or tobacco, but still in its plant form. It hasn't been manufactured yet so that people can put it in their pipes and smoke it. Sugarcane. Sugarcane is always something that like kind of surprises people. Kids always think of sugarcane, where is it right here? As being native to the Americas. Because you guys know that cotton and tobacco and sugarcane are going to be like the big cash crops. So I think kids just assume that sugarcane's native. It comes from over here in the old world, except it grows really well here in the Caribbean, and of course, up here, like in Brazil and stuff. It's because of the humidity, the wetness, the hotness, whatever. Okay, the tropicalness. Okay, but the sugar cane, I don't have a picture, so I grabbed one. The sugar cane will come in its that form. Yes, if you've never seen it before, that is sugar cane. Okay, it has to be manufactured to turn into like sugar, like we use to make our cookies and stuff. Okay. Okay. Ooh. All right. So for the most part, stuff that is coming from the old world, it's raw materials, it's natural resources, and mostly it's stuff that hasn't yet been manufactured. Well, once that stuff gets to Europe, especially, that stuff is manufactured. Okay, they have the means to do it there. So in Europe, they take that sugar cane and they grind it down and I don't know, do whatever they do with it, and then they turn it into sugar. They take the tobacco and they grind it and make it into the tobacco that people put in pipes. They take the cotton and they turn it into a shirt. Are you with me? They manufacture it for a while. It is just a back and forth thing for this until slavery gets involved. Okay, please listen. Slavery is nothing new. In my pre-AP class, we've been talking about slavery since the beginning of time. The very first civilizations. Slavery is nothing new. The big difference with slavery before now to now is it turns into this crappy racial thing. Up to this point, usually slaves were people who had been conquered by someone else. Usually they were people who had been conquered, like prisoners, or they were people who were in debt. Okay? Not anymore. It also doesn't start with the Africans. People want slaves so that they don't have to pay them. If you don't have to pay somebody, then you don't have to give part of your profit to their salary. Okay? So they actually use Native Americans first. It's not like Europeans just go, oh, let's take the Africans. Y'all, they've had decent relations with the Africans forever, since the medieval period when they traded with Mali and Ghana. Portugal trades with the Africans. They didn't look at the Africans and go, ugh, subhuman, gross. No way. They started trying to do the Native Americans as slaves. Yeah, that didn't work. That is a system. Here it is, called the encomienda encomienda system. The encomienda system fails big time. It massively fails. It fails because the Native Americans aren't being taken real far away from their homeland. And the Native Americans know the land. They know that they've been taken to a plantation that's, I don't know, I'm just making this up, 5 miles away from where their tribe lives. They know because they're like, oh, there's that mountain that we hunt on. They know where they are. And this is so simple. They have hope that they'll be rescued. Guys, they really did do smoke signals. That's not just a, I don't know, TV thing. They really did do smoke signals, and that told their tribe where they were, and their tribe would come and rescue them. And then the Europeans would go and get a whole bunch of them again and try to force them to be slaves. It didn't work. So Portugal. Portugal comes into the view here. And Portugal says, hey, so what if we take some Africans? Okay, here's why. Portugal has like a fort right here, right? And they're friends with the tribe around their fort. Well, they know that their tribe that they're friends with has an enemy tribe here. Check out what they do. They say, hey, tribe that is our friend, want to get rid of the tribe you're at war with? Here's all you have to do. Raid them, take them, but kill as few of them as possible, and bring them to us. We'll put them on a ship and you'll never see them again. You can have their land, you can have their resources. Cool. Portugal is originally going to use Africans to enslave Africans, which is also nothing new. Guys, Egypt had slaves. They used Nubian slaves. They also had, I know, Jewish slaves too, but they had Nubian slaves. Those are Africans, okay? You had African on African slavery. It's been going on forever, from the beginning of time. Everybody enslaves everybody, except this is just disgusting slavery. I guess any slavery is disgusting, but whatever. Here's the reason that it's going to work. The encomienda system, hey loudmouth, I heard you barking all the way outside. The encomienda system is not going to work because they know where they are. And the Native American spirit has not been broken. Little Sophie, she wants up. Come here, Sophie. You want to say hi? Little Sophie wants to say hi. You want to sit in my lap, baby girl? Look at you. Look at you. She's so cute. Okay, so how do we go about breaking someone's spirit to the point that they'll do whatever we say? Well, you separate them. Okay? First thing you need to do is separate them from their family and from their tribes. You want to mix them up so that they can't communicate, so that they don't know anybody. Guys, there is strength in numbers. Think about classes where you don't have any friends at all. How wild and crazy are you in those classes? Probably not a lot. Now, think about classes where you have got like everybody in there is your friend. You're probably pretty crazy in there because there really is strength in numbers. So the first thing is they want to separate out tribes, they want to separate out families. Okay. Then they beat the crap out of them. They just beat them up. You're breaking them physically. You've had a broken leg or you've been really sick or whatever, and you just felt like it was never going to end, and you got like all down and all sad and all depressed. When your body hurts, it's hard to have a lot of things are going to be great. Okay. Um, they also throw them on ships that are disgusting. The slave ships, like, it makes me so angry that people did this to each other back then. It just infuriates me. The slave ships were not even fit for, I mean, a rat. I don't even like rats. I wouldn't put my dogs on those slave ships. This isn't even my dog. This is my parents' dog, and I wouldn't put her on one of these slave ships. Huh? These ships were disgusting. Often they were kept underneath the ship so that they got like no sun, no outside anything. Often they were fed very little so that they're fairly weak on the middle passage, the trek across the water. They're fed very little. You don't want them to have a lot of strength or they're going to revolt. I will say, I saw a lot just last year in class. We looked up a statistic. Actually, what was it? 9% of the time, there were slave revolts on slave ships. You're like, that's not very much. It actually is a pretty good chunk. They just weren't ever successful. I shouldn't say ever. They were incredibly rarely successful. Sophie, baby, do you want down? Here, sweetie. Hey, sweetie, sweetie, sweetie. There you go. Okay. You also, okay, you take them across the water for weeks. Guys, roughly, we're talking 6 weeks ish to get from here to here. They don't understand what's happening to them. They don't understand why these people are beating them or throwing crap at them or separating them or whatever. All right. They don't understand why they're shackled on the bottom of a ship where if they pee, they do it right there. If they poo, they do it right there. If they're sick and they puke, they do it right there. If a woman's pregnant, she probably miscarries on the ship. If she gives birth, right there. You don't treat human beings that way. You don't. But it's breaking their spirit. By the time they get over here to the Americas, okay, and they're brought back to some strength and they're ready to be sold, they're put in the center of town to be gawked at and for everybody to look at them. Usually, mostly naked. And they're all touched and messed with, like you would buy a piece of fruit. Like you squeeze the fruit to see how hard it is. They're checking the muscles. They're looking at the teeth. And you don't understand what's happening. Then you get to your plantation, where the master, probably the first thing he does is have you beaten. Why would you beat a slave as soon as you get them? I mean, you want them to be strong to work for you, right? Yes, but you also want them to know who's the boss. So you beat the crap out of them. Then they'll get nursed back to health. And they're told by all the other slaves how things work and what's going on. They have no idea where they are. They're in a completely different culture. They don't know anybody. They have been physically hurt, emotionally and spiritually hurt, and they've been broken. They just do what they're told. That is not right. The population over here, the population of African men over in West Africa plummets. At first. Something weird happens. The population of men plummets. It just falls like crazy over here because they're all being sent over here. Until all this new food, if we go back and look at some of the food that's coming from the Americas, look at this. Potatoes are really, 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 really cheap and they grow really easily. Okay. You have a lot of this stuff here, turkeys, all kinds of good stuff. We have what is it? An increase in health, I guess is the way to say it, because of food that's coming from over here to here and stuff that's cheap and grows easily. I mean, y'all, when I was a kid, like in elementary school, we grew a potato in a Dixie cup in the window at school. Potatoes will grow anywhere. So, what's weird is at first, the population of African men falls drastically. But then it picks back up because of food and health, which is strange. Um, the population over here of Africans jumps up, obviously, especially in like Brazil. Brazil is Portuguese owned, and originally the Portuguese are the slave traders. So that kind of makes sense that they'd be trading with themselves more. Of course, eventually you're going to end up with English slave traders and French and everybody, okay? Because of course it makes money. But at first, it's pretty much Portuguese. All right. You're also going to end up with a huge number of slaves here in the Caribbean. Oddly enough, there's only about 10% of the slaves that are brought to North America. Did I put that in your notes? Is that right? Yes, I couldn't remember for sure if that was right. I'm glad I put that in there. So yeah, roughly 10% of the slaves end up in North America to do like house servants and especially the cash crops, tobacco, cotton, stuff like that. The majority of slaves are actually taken down here to the Caribbean and down here to Brazil, mostly working on the sugar plantations. And they were like the hardest work too. It was awful. So we're having kind of a population shift too. Something else is happening population wise. We have a whole new group of people created. You know how the mix of European and Native American is a mestizo? Well, we have a mix from African and European. So basically, European and African slave. Okay. The word is, it's a beautiful word. Did I not put it in here? There's no way I didn't put it in here. Here it is. The word is mulatto. Doesn't that sound like a gorgeous word? Mulatto. Just rolls off your tongue. Sounds like coffee. I love coffee. Mulatto. The mulatto are the mixed, okay? Half African, half European. Alrighty? Most of the time, it's going to be like it's going to occur from an illegitimate situation where we have a master having sex with a slave, okay? But I mean, it is what it is. So we now have a whole new group of people as a result of this too. And I think I have. Oh, this is just showing you numbers if you want to look at it for a second. I will show it in class, but I don't make a big thing out of it. This just shows you some numbers. Roughly, remember this is roughly 450,000. Suck at numbers. Roughly 450,000 are going to the British in the North Americas. Roughly 1,553,000 are going to the Spanish. We have, oh shoot, 1,665,000 going here. That's British. And then look right here, Caribbean. And look right here, the Dutch, Caribbean. And then look at Brazil, 3.5, almost 3.6 million. I think I have a couple pictures of some of the drawings of slave ships. My arrow is gone. I'm momenta bitta. Maybe I didn't include any. I don't know. Oh, I only included one. Well, here's a picture, just all packed in. There's another famous one that could very easily. Oh, it's on your test. It's on your test. So I'm not going to show you. But yeah, it'll be on your test, and it could easily be on like AP tests and stuff too. So, anyway, all right. So now that we have all this trade back and forth, right? That's going to start a revolution, a change in business. Okay? We'll deal with that next.